Hello guys, Jerry speaking. Welcome to LJPCBM episode number 909. Today we reacting to OddGamer episode number 50, Friday the 13th with Shadow of Flare. This is the NES version of the game, and oh my god. If you watch this remix, it's for you, buddy. This is your worst game from LJN. So, a lot of it from AVGN and things like that. And react to this beginning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, Internet viewers. I'm the Fairly Odd Gamer. First off, I want to apologize about a certain review that I was supposed to do last month. And just never got a chance to finish yet.
Yeah.
And yes, I'll try my best to get it done next month.
That's fine.
Now it's Halloween, and I thought I'd do something a little different for the channel.
Okay.
A new tradition every October from here on in. So without further ado, I wish for proper Halloween attire. Now that is more like it. And furthermore, I wish for this horror-themed month to be changed into the Scary OddGamer.
Wow. The Very OddGamer presents the Scary OddGamer. Ooh! Scary OddGamer and Friday the 13th. Ooh. Special guest reviewer, Shadow Flare.
Better way to start off the month with a classic slasher horror movie series called Friday the 13th.
And if you watch this remix, get ready for some bad flares for you, buddy. Continue on.
The brainchild behind Victor Miller and Sean S. Cunningham, Friday the 13th centers around a killer named Jason Voorhees, a large man dressed in black and a goalie mask that also wields a giant knife as he torments kids and counselors at a place called Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
On May the 9th, 1980, the original movie was released.
Which I've talked about this many times in the FWO series. Continue on.
While it was panned by critics, it was surprisingly adored by horror fans. Even though the original killer was Jason's mother, thanks to a movie called Scream, Jason would eventually become one of the most successful horror icons of the 80s. Eventually, it would lead to 10 sequels, a crossover with another 80s horror icon, a theatrical remake in 2009, a TV show that spawned 3 seasons, and a countless amount of merchandise. While I've not fully seen any of the movies, I am familiar with the hockey mask murderer and how it impacted a generation of horror moviegoers. And of course, with a franchise this successful, you expect to have a video game tie-in. And surprisingly enough, there happens to be a video game tie-in for the Nintendo Entertainment System, simply known as Friday the 13th.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Hold on there.
And who, may I ask, are you?
My name's Shadowflare. And if you're gonna review this game, you need a slasher fan around.
I see. Since you are a slasher fanatic, how exactly do you know about Friday the 13th?
I'm glad you asked. Coming off the success of John Carpenter's horror masterpiece Halloween, Friday the 13th cemented the idea of the slasher movie into the popular culture. While critics hated it, it ended up being a franchise almost too big for itself. Jason Voorhees birthed the image of the masked killer to It's practically a staple of Halloween now.
Wow.
So, as with many horror movies, once Friday became a hot seller, things started going downhill way fast. The movies were supposed to end with a 4th entry, which didn't happen. Their financial success allowed the franchise to continue and spawn countless merchandise, including the NES game we're spotlighting right here.
Yeah, I saw it on AVGN episode Friday the 13th, which I will explain more about in LJPCBM very soon. Continue on. Oh, I didn't mean to pause it.
Myself got into the franchise after seeing the excellent crossover movie Freddy vs. Jason. After seeing that, I was so blown away by how cool Jason was as a character and monster that I went out of my way to see every last film in the series. The first 4 movies to this day I still think are excellent slasher movies. The parts 5 through 10 I'd advise skipping unless you have some friends over to make fun of them with you. There was a reboot in 2009, which fans and critics both hated, but I thought it was pretty good. The franchise has mostly laid dormant since that movie came out, though.
You seem to know an awful lot about this franchise, even more than I do. So what do you say, Shadow? Shall we slash our way through this game the same way the original movies did?
Sounds like a plan to me, gamer.
Perfect! Let's pop this killer in and find out.
So after seeing the poster of Friday the 13th Part 4, the supposedly final chapter, in which a knife goes into Jason's eye, we see that it was made by LJN.
Yeah, if you watch this, Owen Nelson, produced by Springcast, in the credits, Robin Joking Nuts. And, Mario Master Marcus, you watch this now. Continue on.
And for those who don't know, LJN is actually based on one of the founders, Norman J. Lewis.
Fortunately, couldn't find info of him. Not even Google could help me on this. Well, yeah, AVGN, said this, numbnuts, yeah. At the time, yes, and Remix said this. Laughing, joking, numbshows. Yeah, continue on.
Versus initials. So in my case, I'll just call it Liver's Just Neglect.
What? Liver's just neglect? Okay, moving on. Continue on. I said continue on.
LJN was a toy company in the 80s that eventually acquired licenses to produce video games based on several popular franchises.
Oh.
If you watch The Angry Video Game Nerd, you're probably familiar with them.
Which I saw on YouTube maybe years ago. When I first discovered AVGN in 2008, I was like, wow. Okay, the first one I ever saw was The Wizard of Oz with SNES. This is before the fight between AVGN and Nostalgia Critic did that. I'm like, okay, makes sense to me. But then all this came when LGN Video Art came. I was like, wow. In 2014, I was like, wow. It's like this is one of my funniest episodes I've ever seen. It's like, it's great. It's on. It's on. It's so hilarious to watch, you know. I'm like, wow. It's awesome. Oh boy, I love that episode. You know, and at the time, yes, the fact about LJN being terrible toy devices games, you know, I just feel like it's one of the worst toy company, and especially the video game company I've ever seen. Continue on.
Not know, however, is that LJN is only partially to blame here.
Yes.
LJN was merely a publisher who hired other studios to develop for them.
And if you watch this remix, I played Pictionary once or twice, something like that, in this LGN game. But this game is kind of hard to play. You know, I have tried this again many times, so I wanted to, but I wanted to defeat Pictionary for the NES. May coming soon. Continue on.
Unlike Kemco, which is both a video game publisher and developer. So I can safely say that Kemco is worse than LJN.
Wow.
LJN died during the Dreamcast era, but Kemco has the nerve to continue
One who aims come here in the world. Okay, makes more sense. Anyway.
making games even for today's consoles.
No argument here. Anyway, Friday the 13th was developed by Atlas, the company
Wow.
that wanted to make the Persona and Shin Megami Tensei series.
But don't worry, it won't be the last bad game Atlas made. Isn't that right, Virtual Highline? Anyway, you get a choice of 6 camp counselors: George, Mark, Paul, Laura, Debbie, and Chrissy. And surprisingly enough, only Debbie and Chrissy ever appeared in the movies. So who are the other 4 counselors and why are they here? Honestly, I have no clue. Out of all the camp counselors to choose from, Mark is the best out of the 6. Why? Because his walk speed is much faster than the other 5. Anyway, the game tells you to use the torch to light all the fireplaces. How do you get the torch? By throwing rocks at zombies, of course. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, these rocks are your default weapons. And they're pretty lame. They're thrown in an arc, which will most likely result in missing your opponent. So the best way to defeat them is by crouching down and then throwing your weapon.
Wow.
Also, the amount of zombies has me seriously concerned. We know from the movies that Jason died from the counselor's neglect. Apparently, so did a lot more kids.
More on that later. Let's go over the basic controls. You move with the control pad as well as crouching down and even enter different areas. A to jump and B to throw your weapon. Easy enough, right? Well, no. Once you enter the cabin, the perspective changes from a side scroller to I don't know, a gauntlet or something?
I got nothing.
Yeah,
So whatever you want to call these cabins in terms of gameplay style, navigating them is beyond frustrating.
Yeah.
It has this awkward 3D control where you have to hold forward to move to the next room, and then hit right or left to redirect which way forward is. Finding your way around these cabins is next to impossible without memorization because everything looks the same, maybe save for the odd window. There's two kinds of cabins, big and small. The small ones are usually just safe houses where your fellow camp counselors are hiding out, but the big ones house those fireplaces the gamer mentioned earlier.
There's also random notes to let you know where to go or what items are in what cabin, like an axe or a torch. Besides getting the required torch, killing enough zombies will let you gain better weapons like a knife or a machete. But when it comes to fighting Jason, I actually find the torch to be the most powerful weapon in the game. It's the same way as the rocks, but it does give greater damage to enemies. Speaking of which, there's also the Jason alarm that blares every once in a while, letting you know if either one of the camp counselors or any of the children are in danger. Thankfully, you have a map, which is helpful, but not by much. Anyway, once you save a counselor or any of the kids, you then have to fight Jason. And it's next to impossible. You can dodge his attacks by, get this, pressing left or right and down at the same time. Why though?
Why?
When I try to dodge, I still keep getting attacked by Jason and even have my counselor killed. Oh yeah, did I mention? Once a camp counselor dies, you have to choose another camp counselor. And if the one you murdered is the best option, like Mark, then you're pretty much screwed. As I mentioned before, none of the other camp counselors can move as fast as Mark.
Jason shows up at random intervals around the camp, either in one of the cabins, which triggers the Jason alarm, or when you're just out about in the map in what might be one of the earliest examples of a jump scare. Like the gamer said, the combat in the cabins is extremely awkward, kind of akin to a discount version of Punch-Out. Encounters with Jason on the map are much more tolerable thanks to not having to deal with the lousy cabin controls. Though he does deal a lot of damage and can kill you in about 3 hits. And when a counselor dies, all the fireplaces reset in addition to what the gamer previously mentioned.
By the way, if you manage to light the fireplaces in all the cabins, you then move forward with a flashlight that lights up the cave. I heard that you can fight against Mrs. Voorhees, which is basically a deformed head, but before I had a chance to take care of her, I actually managed to beat the game without even knowing. We'll get to that later.
Funny you should mention that cave, gamer. It's one of 2 important areas to explore, the cave and the woods. You can find their entrances on the overworld, but once you get there, the map is even more useless than it already was. The woods are more or less the same as the campgrounds, but packed with dogs that will bite you without hesitation.
Yes.
Seriously? I would never bite anyone. I'm a surfer, not a biter.
Yeah.
You are the wisest companion I've ever had.
Aw, thanks, dude. By the way, who's that friend of yours?
I'm Shadow Blair, but my friends just call me Shadow.
Like the hedgehog?
If that helps, sure.
Fair enough. Anyway, I better get going. I already know about how heinous this game is. Later, dudes.
You're fine.
Anyway, enough about the game. Let's just kill Jason and end this monstrosity.
Watch out, Jason's still alive and stronger than before.
What?
What?
You're telling me I have to kill Jason again?
It would appear that way, yes.
So it turns out you have to defeat Jason again, which means I can explore a new area in this game, right? Well, no. You have to do the same thing you've been doing since the beginning of this game. Kill more zombies, save the children by rowing to an island as well as your counselors, and fight Jason again.
Yeah.
This time, he's much faster and can pack up more damage. Oh, and I forgot to mention, whenever you fight Jason outside, he can bail out of the fight like a coward.
Yes.
If he fails out of a fight while inside one of the cabins, you get a message saying, you win. For now. Well, let's kill him again. And surely he must be dead this time.
Not exactly.
You've got to be kidding me. I wasted another day trying to literally burn Jason with a torch, the most powerful weapon in the game, only to still be alive? How is that even possible?
The movies had us asking that for years.
As you may have guessed, you do the same thing you've done for the entire game. This is what I don't like about video games. Having to do the same thing over and over and over again. Why can't I have more of a variety for each day, or better yet, have the characters fight against a different variation of Jason, like
Yes.
say, a demon. But nope, it's the same Jason we've been fighting since we started this game. The longer I play this game, the more boring it gets. Eventually you defeat Jason yet again. Please tell me he dies. You have finally managed to defeat Jason, but is he really dead? We're not telling. Ha ha ha. End.
So that was Friday the 13th for the NES. And it's still awful.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree. I
We
can see
get.
the makings of a good game here, but the limitations of the NES combined with LJN's sheer incompetence definitely made this a slog to play. They tried to capture the atmosphere of the movies, but so much about it just doesn't work.
Yes.
It seemed more tedious than scary.
Yeah, I'm with you there. The game has good graphics for NES standards, even with its day and night cycle, but the music is just bland and forgettable. In fact, this is a common theme with LJN licensed games. Never using any music from the movies the games were based on. I get it, copyright and whatnot. But
Yeah, like AVGN episodes, for example. Duh.
Wars games and even DuckTales include music from the material they were based on.
Which I have to agree of, which I react to the DuckTale episodes and I which react on Very OddGamer, not an AVGN style things. Continue on.
Why couldn't this? Why couldn't LJN acquire the rights to use some of the music used in the movie?
Yeah.
I guess it would make the game more memorable.
Uh-huh.
Friday the 13th had the ambition of a successful game, but yeah, LJN's involvement was the cause of the game being infamous. The graphics is pretty decent, but it almost looks similar to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Another infamous NES game.
Just like in the, before, like AVGN episode 2, and episode 1, whatever number it was. I can't remember the episode. It's a revisit episode. Then all of a sudden, just smashing the and then Bones just had set, and I don't know who. I mean, James had to do that. The nerd just suddenly just shoveled the author of the book's gravestone and just pull a middle finger, and the Bone just his grave just pull a middle finger at the nerd and just punch him in the face. Like Jesus, that was a total nightmare for the nerd. You know, that's just me. Continue on.
Not to mention, the music is bland, resulting in immediate obscurity.
Yeah.
The gameplay can get tedious after a while. The overall game is just boring.
Yeah.
All hope is not lost for the future of Jason being in video games. In 2017, there was a new Friday the 13th game as an online survival horror game in which you control as one of the camp counselors or as Jason Voorhees himself.
Yeah, which I haven't reacted to yet on Very OddGamer episode, but that's for another time. Will he? Continue on.
It goes without saying that the new game is miles better than the NES version.
Yes, and I have to agree with remixing this one. He needs to get playing for this. Continue on.
Amazing. The gameplay is fluid. They even got some iconic actors like Kane Hodder to return as Jason, and even series rival Tommy Jarvis makes an appearance, voiced by his original actor Tom Matthews. It's available on all modern platforms and goes on sale often too. So give it a shot if you haven't already.
And going back to what I said earlier, the NES version of Friday the 13th is so boring that I'd rather be asleep than play more of this garbage. And I suggest you do the same thing. I'm the Scary Eyed Gamer, and I wish you the very best of luck for all endeavors. Take care, everyone.
What does he dream about now? To be concluded. Oh my God.
How's it going, dudes? OddGamer here. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon if you want to get notified for upcoming videos.
Well said, Hux. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and some of my character buddies on TikTok. And if you like, you can have one of my character buddies do a short video for you via video commission. Links to all of those in the description below. So, without further ado, I wish that one of my character buddies finished with a video.
Well, well, well. What have we here? Hey, wait a
Special
minute.
thanks to Alan Pearson voicing Oogie Boogie. Continue on.
You're not Santa Claus.
No.
Huh? You want me to talk about what? Okay, fine. People of the interweb, I am Oogie Boogie, and I'm here to tell you that you can all scare. I mean, support the Very OddGamer on Patreon. Joining gives you access to his videos early, the ability to chat with other fans and patrons, and special character shoutouts in the credits. But really, when you have me around, do you even need anyone else to mention you? Anyway, there are two people in particular who deserve special mention. Alexander Bone, aka Wisdom Tote, and Flash Figure. So go ahead, go onto your computers, or your phones and tablets, what have you, and support the Fairly OddGamer on Patreon. There are quite a few surprises in store for this season, and don't worry, you'll see me soon enough.
Thank you. Thank you, Oogie Boogie. So that was Fairly OddGamer, Friday 13th with Shadow Flare. What I think about this episode? I think it was amazing. So far, this episode was a successful episode because of LJN game. Probably playing a bit from AVGN episode difference, but you know, that's just me, of course. That was LJPCBM episode number 909. Hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned. Next one's gonna be LJPCBM episode number 910, which is gonna be about, let's just say, A Nightmare on Elm Street with Shadow Flare special guest on the Fairly OddGamer. Till next time, Sue Joseph Bye Episode Baby. Good work to you guys pursued. Till edges it out. See ya.
Given unto me this life I'll never take for granted, and given all the time I failed to really understand it, I never sought to meet the maker of reality, the one who gave the life that which is always happening, but I tried all the time. I ask, why me? Why was I the one to see things as I do under the moonlight and the sun? Perception is the question, and the giver holds the key.